Dante Alighieri's Inferno begins on a dark night of the soul, with the poet himself lost in a shadowed forest. The year is 1300, and Dante, cast as both author and pilgrim, awakens to find he has strayed from the straight path of virtue. His journey is not merely physical but spiritual, a descent into the very depths of human sin and divine justice. In this opening, Dante dramatizes a universal human truth, the experience of being lost, morally or spiritually, and seeking a way back toward meaning and redemption. As Dante struggles through the tangled woods, he encounters three beasts barring his path: a leopard, a lion, and a she-wolf. Each creature embodies a category of sin, lust, pride, and greed, forces that humanity endlessly battles. These beasts remind us of temptations that still dominate modern life, whether through consumerism, ambition, or desire. Dante is overwhelmed, symbolizing the weakness of the individual soul without divine guidance. At this desperate moment, the Roman poet Virgil appears as Dante's guide. Virgil represents human reason, philosophy, and classical wisdom. Though he cannot bring Dante to heaven, he can lead him through hell and purgatory. This partnership symbolizes the interplay between human reason and divine faith. In our world, where science and belief often conflict, Dante's reliance on Virgil illustrates that reason is indispensable, even when it cannot reach ultimate truth. The pair begin their descent into hell, crossing through the gates engraved with the chilling words, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." Hell is structured with precision, a series of concentric circles spiraling downward. Each circle punishes a particular category of sin, revealing a divine justice that matches crime to consequence. Dante's hell is less a fiery pit than a moral architecture, a map of the human soul's corruption. Before the circles proper, Dante encounters the neutrals, souls who lived without committing to good or evil. Their punishment is eternal aimlessness, stung by wasps and forced to chase banners they can never catch. This is a striking condemnation of apathy, of those who refuse moral responsibility. In our era of political polarization and climate crisis, Dante's warning against neutrality feels more relevant than ever. Indifference is itself a damning choice. Crossing the river Acheron aboard Charon's boat, Dante enters the first circle, limbo. Here dwell virtuous pagans, souls of great thinkers like Homer, Socrates, and Aristotle. Though not damned for sin, they are denied heaven because they lived before Christ. Dante honors them, but their fate reflects medieval Christianity's exclusivity. For modern readers, limbo invites questions of cultural relativism, spiritual inclusivity, and how we judge virtue across eras and beliefs. The second circle holds the lustful, swept forever in a ceaseless storm. Among them, Dante meets Francesca da Rimini, who tells of her tragic love affair. Reading together of Lancelot and Guinevere, she and her lover succumb to passion, only to be murdered by her husband. Dante, moved to tears, faints with pity. Francesca's tale reminds us that literature itself can stir emotions so deeply that it alters lives, for good or ill. In the third circle, the gluttonous wallow in filth as icy rain pours endlessly upon them. A three-headed dog, Cerberus, claws at their flesh. This grotesque imagery represents overindulgence turned to decay, echoing how consumption-driven cultures eventually collapse under their own waste. Today, when excess food and luxury coexist with global hunger, Dante's third circle feels like a moral indictment of imbalance. The fourth circle punishes the avaricious and the prodigal, those who hoarded or squandered wealth. They roll enormous stones in opposing directions, clashing endlessly in futility. Here Dante emphasizes that obsession with money, whether through miserliness or reckless waste, leads only to emptiness. In the 21st century, this vision resonates in the cycles of boom and bust economies, in the clash between greed and waste that defines consumer society. In the fifth circle lies the swamp of the Styx, where the wrathful eternally fight on the surface, while the sullen sink beneath, choking on black mud. Dante highlights two sides of anger: explosive violence and silent bitterness. Both consume the soul. The relevance today is stark. Rage fills social media and politics, while apathy festers in silence. Both forms of spiritual sickness poison communities. At the city of Dis, guarded by demons and furies, Dante enters the deeper, more terrible circles. The sixth circle is reserved for heretics, entombed in fiery graves. These are souls who denied the immortality of the soul or the existence of divine truth. For Dante, heresy is a corruption of belief itself. Modern parallels appear in debates over truth, fake news, and ideologies that reject accountability to reality. The seventh circle punishes violence, divided into three rings: violence against others, against self, and against God or nature. Murderers boil in rivers of blood, suicides are trapped in thorny trees torn by harpies, and blasphemers lie stretched on burning sand beneath rain of fire. Dante's imagery is stark, but his moral insight is profound. Violence deforms not only bodies, but the essence of the soul. Among the suicides, Dante pauses with deep sorrow. Pier della Vigna, once a trusted advisor to the emperor, recounts his despair and self-destruction. Dante portrays suicide as both tragedy and sin, entwining personal suffering with divine judgment. In our age of rising awareness around mental health, this passage compels us to reflect on compassion, responsibility, and the need for societal support rather than condemnation. The eighth circle, Malbolge, is perhaps Dante's most inventive. It is divided into 10 bolgias or ditches, each punishing a particular kind of fraud: seducers, flatterers, simonists, sorcerers, corrupt politicians, hypocrites, thieves, false counselors, sowers of discord, and counterfeiters. Here, irony and grotesque comedy reign. Dante reserves his sharpest wit for fraud, the sin of deception, which undermines the very fabric of trust. In the Bolgia of corrupt politicians, Dante sees them immersed in boiling pitch, guarded by grotesque demons. The scene reads like dark political satire, a medieval cartoon of corruption. Dante spares no rulers of his time, embedding real Florentine names. Modern readers may see echoes in scandals and abuses of power across governments, reminding us that corruption is timeless. The sowers of discord suffer perhaps the most grotesque punishment. They are torn apart by a demon's sword, only to be healed and torn again. Dante speaks with the severed figure of Bertrand de Born, a poet who incited rebellion, carrying his own head like a lantern. The punishment literalizes the sin. Those who divide others are themselves divided. In today's fractured societies, where misinformation drives division, Dante's image resonates with terrifying relevance. Descending further, Dante arrives at the ninth and final circle, treachery. Here, traitors are frozen in a vast icy lake, Cocytus. Betrayal, for Dante, is the ultimate sin, a perversion of trust that freezes the natural warmth of human bonds. Unlike fiery punishments, treachery is cold, lifeless, immobilizing. This inversion forces readers to see betrayal as the most chilling evil. Within Cocytus, Dante identifies 4 concentric rings of treachery: China, for traitors to kin; Antinora, for traitors to country; Ptolomia, for traitors to guests; and Judeca, for traitors to benefactors. Each reveals how betrayal corrodes not only personal ties, but also the social fabric. Dante insists that human community rests on trust, and its violation is a sin against both humanity and God. At the very center of hell, Dante confronts Satan himself, a monstrous, frozen giant with 3 faces. Each mouth eternally chews on history's greatest traitors: Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Christ, and Brutus and Cassius, who betrayed Julius Caesar. Satan is not a flame, but trapped in ice, endlessly weeping. He embodies impotence, not power, a chilling reminder that ultimate evil is paralysis, a negation of life and love. The image of Satan frozen, wings beating in futility, contrasts sharply with modern depictions of the devil as fiery and powerful. Dante's vision suggests that evil is not glorious, but pathetic, not powerful, but self-defeating. In an era where cruelty often masquerades as strength, Dante's Satan is a crucial counterpoint. The true consequence of sin is sterility, isolation, and despair. Finally, Dante and Virgil climb down Satan's body, passing through the center of the earth. Astonishingly, once they cross, they find themselves climbing upward. Emerging beneath a starlit sky, Dante concludes Inferno with a vision of hope. Even from the deepest despair, the possibility of ascent exists. His journey affirms that acknowledging sin is the first step toward redemption. Dante's Inferno is more than medieval theology. It is a mirror held up to the human condition, exposing our failings, our temptations, and our need for guidance. Its architecture of hell reflects a moral order that insists our choices have consequences. For contemporary readers, Dante's Descent remains relevant because it dramatizes the stakes of moral indifference, corruption, and betrayal while still holding out the promise of renewal. Like Dante emerging under the stars, we too can find our way back from darkness. That's it for now. Consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps us create more content. Let us know what story you would like to see next.